The calendar notification chimed softly. Quarterly review with Edwin, 3:30 p.m., 2 hours away. Plenty of time to finish my lunch and prepare. I stabbed at my salad, mind already rehearsing talking points for my projects. Harper. I looked up to see Edwin standing over my desk, his expression unreadable. The office hummed with afternoon activity around us. The Diamante group is here. Conference room A now. My fork clattered against the plastic container. Diamante? That's scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. Plans change. He checked his watch. You have 2 minutes to get downstairs. But the presentation isn't finalized. The deck isn't. 2 minutes, Harper. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Don't keep them waiting. As he strode away, the realization hit me. This was deliberate. The Diamante Group represented our biggest potential client of the year. A 10 million account. I'd been cultivating for months. Tomorrow's presentation was supposed to be my crowning achievement. My stomach tightened as I grabbed my phone. My laptop was running a system update and wouldn't be ready in time. The printed materials were still at the print shop for tomorrow. The prototype wasn't assembled. In the elevator, I tried accessing my files remotely, but our company's security protocols blocked cloud access from mobile devices. Perfect. When the doors opened, I saw them through the glass walls of the conference room. 6 impeccably dressed executives seated around the table, some checking watches, others scrolling through phones. At the head of the table sat Vivian Diamante herself, rarely present at initial pitches. Edwin intercepted me in the hallway. Ah, here she is, our team lead. Where's the presentation? He whispered harshly. On my desktop, where it's supposed to be for tomorrow's meeting. Well, that's unfortunate. He adjusted his tie. Don't embarrass us. As we entered, Edwin transformed. Everyone, this is Harper, who'll be walking you through our proposal today. So sorry about the confusion with scheduling. Vivian Diamante looked up, her expression cold. We were told everything was ready. We've flown people in specifically for this presentation. Just some minor confusion, Edwin assured her. Harper is fully prepared. I watched Edwin position himself near the door as he made introductions, close enough to claim credit if things went well, far enough to distance himself when they inevitably crashed. 6 pairs of eyes turned expectantly toward me. I had nothing. No slides, no materials, no prototype. Just a phone with dead-end access to our servers, and a brain racing to find a way out of this trap. Thank you for making time today, I began, trying to steady my voice while my career crumbled in real time. Before I begin, I'd like to understand something. What's the primary challenge you're hoping our solution will address? The room fell silent. Vivian exchanged glances with her CFO. We covered this extensively in our preliminary discussions, he said. Sometimes restating the problem reveals new insights, I replied, buying seconds to think. What if we've been approaching this from the wrong angle? I had nothing to lose. Edwin had already destroyed me. If you're enjoying this story of workplace betrayal and wondering how Harper will navigate this impossible situation, please like this video and subscribe to hear more stories that explore the depths of human relationships and resilience. Your support helps bring these stories to life. My name is Harper Wade, and until that ambush meeting, I was the rising star at Crescent Analytics. 5 years of 60-hour weeks had earned me the lead position on our biggest accounts. My colleagues called me the problem solver, not for following playbooks, but for seeing solutions nobody else could. Edwin Palmer had been my boss for 11 months. He'd transferred from another division after their department collapsed. The rumors suggested mismanagement, but officially, it was restructuring. From day one, he'd viewed me with suspicion. You work very independently, he'd observed during our first one-on-one. Not a compliment. I'd built my reputation by challenging conventional approaches, which clients loved but made traditional managers like Edwin nervous. He preferred predictability over innovation. 3 weeks before the Diamante ambush, I'd questioned his strategy during our executive briefing. Our team had lost 2 major accounts following his streamlined approach, a paint-by-numbers sales technique that ignored client-specific needs. We need to adapt our solutions to each client, not force them into our template, I'd argued, presenting data showing declining satisfaction scores. Edwin had smiled tightly. Thank you for your input, Harper. Let's discuss this offline. We never did. Instead, I was excluded from strategy meetings. My emails went unanswered. Projects were reassigned without explanation. Then came the Diamante opportunity, a potential 10 million contract with the country's fastest-growing retail analytics firm, our biggest prospect in years. I want you to lead this one, Edwin had announced, surprising everyone. full creative control. I'd thrown myself into the project, developing a customized solution that addressed their unique market challenges. For 6 weeks, I'd refined, tested, and perfected every detail. The presentation was scheduled for tomorrow, Friday, at 3 p.m., and now here I was, standing empty-handed before the decision-makers, with Edwin watching me drown. "Miss Wade?" Vivian prompted. "We were expecting a demonstration of your analytics platform." I made a split-second decision. Before showing our solution, I'd like to challenge some assumptions. "May I?" Curiosity flickered across Vivian's face. She nodded. "You've met with 6 firms before us, correct?" I asked. 7, she corrected. "And they all propose dashboards and visualization tools for your international market data?" Her CFO leaned forward. "How did you know that?" I hadn't. It was an educated guess based on industry trends. "Because they're solving the wrong problem." Edwin shifted uncomfortably by the door. This wasn't the apology and rescheduling he'd expected. "Your company isn't struggling with data visualization," I continued. "You have talented analysts. What you lack is predictive modeling for emerging markets, where consumer behavior doesn't follow established patterns." Vivian's eyebrows raised slightly. I'd struck a nerve. For the next 15 minutes, I asked questions that revealed gaps in their current approach. With each exchange, they became more engaged while Edwin grew increasingly agitated. "Perhaps we should reschedule," he interrupted, "since Harper doesn't have her materials ready." "Actually," Vivian said, "this discussion is more valuable than another slide deck. Please continue, Harper." I sketched a basic framework on the notepad before me, explaining how our approach would differ from competitors. I was rebuilding my entire presentation from memory, adapting it to their responses in real time. 30 minutes in, Vivian stood up. The room fell silent. "This meeting has taken an unexpected turn," she said. Edwin stepped forward, ready to apologize for my failure. "We came expecting a conventional presentation," Vivian continued. "Instead, Miss Wade has identified problems we haven't acknowledged ourselves." She turned to me. "We need to continue this conversation, but not with your company." Edwin froze. "I'd like to meet with you privately," she said, handing me her card. "Call my assistant to arrange a time." As they filed out, Edwin's expression transformed from confusion to rage. He'd orchestrated my public failure, but somehow I'd turned it into something else entirely. The door closed behind the Diamante team. "What did you do?" Edwin demanded. "My job," I replied. "You've just cost us a 10 million account." "Have I?" I slipped Vivian's card into my pocket. "Or have you?" His eyes narrowed. "This isn't over, Harper." I had no idea how right he was, or how far he would go to ensure I never succeeded again. Because what happened next would change everything, and no one, especially not Edwin, would see it coming. The elevator ride back to our floor stretched into eternity. Edwin stared straight ahead, jaw clenched, radiating fury. The moment we stepped out, he grabbed my arm. "My office, now." Staff members glanced up from their desks as he marched me through the open workspace. Nobody made eye contact. They knew what was coming. Edwin closed his door with controlled precision. "Explain yourself." "I adapted to the situation you created," I said, keeping my voice level. "Would you have preferred I tell them you deliberately sabotaged the presentation?" "Sabotaged?" He laughed. "Plans change in business. Being adaptable is part of the job." "Is that what happened? Plans changed?" He leaned against his desk. "The meeting was moved up. I informed you as soon as I knew. And yet everyone else was conveniently unavailable to help present." "Are you accusing me of something, Harper?" The question hung between us. We both knew the truth, but saying it aloud would cross a line I couldn't return from. "No," I finally said. "I'm just clarifying the situation." "Good, because what I saw today was insubordination. You went completely off script." "There was no script. You made sure of that." His expression hardened. "You've been building your own personal relationship with the client instead of representing the company. That stops now." He opened his laptop. "I'll be handling all communication with the Diamante Group moving forward. Vivian specifically asked to speak with me. Vivian will be speaking with our team, which I lead." He glanced up. "Unless you're planning to take the client with you? Is that your game here?" The accusation stunned me. "No, I've always been loyal to this company." "Then prove it. Forward me any communication you receive from them and copy me on all responses." "That's an order, Harper." He returned to his screen. "That's all." I left his office knowing something fundamental had shifted. The rules had changed, but only for me. Back at my desk, I found an email from Edwin, sent during our conversation. It was addressed to the entire department. Team, due to recent concerns, all client communications must now be approved through proper channels. Individual team members should not make promises or suggestions to clients without management review. Additionally, all new business development will now require team approach rather than individual leadership. These changes take effect immediately. Edwin Palmer, Senior Director. The message was clear. My wings were being clipped. My phone buzzed with a text from Zoe in accounting. Lunch tomorrow? Need to talk. Important. Zoe and I had started at the company on the same day 5 years ago. While I'd climbed the analyst track, she'd moved into finance. We'd remained friends despite working in different departments. I texted back, noon. The place with the good soup? Perfect, she replied. As I packed up for the day, my phone chimed with an email notification. Vivian Diamante's assistant. Miss Wade, Miss Diamante would like to meet Tuesday at 9 a.m. at our downtown office. Please confirm your availability. Lindsay Chen, Executive Assistant to Vivian Diamante. I stared at my phone, torn between professional opportunity and Edwin's direct order. Before I could decide, another email arrived. From Edwin, Harper, I've been informed that several of your projects require immediate restructuring. Please prepare transition documents for the following accounts by Monday morning. He listed every major client in my portfolio. 5 accounts I'd built from nothing, representing thousands of hours of work. He was stripping me bare. The choice became clear. I forwarded Vivian's email to Edwin with a brief note. As instructed, sharing client communication for your review. His response came within seconds. I'll handle this. Do not reply. 20 minutes later, I received another email from Vivian's assistant. Miss Wade, we haven't received confirmation for Tuesday's meeting. Please advise if this time works for you. Lindsay Chen. Edwin was ignoring them. I closed my laptop and headed home, knowing tomorrow would bring new battles. The following day, Zoe was already waiting when I arrived at the cafe. Her expression told me this wasn't a casual lunch. They're watching your emails, she said without preamble. Edwin requested it access yesterday afternoon. Can he do that? Technically, yes, with cause. He cited business continuity concerns. She lowered her voice. There's more. Finance was asked to prepare a severance package calculation. My soup suddenly lost its appeal. For me? She nodded. The request came in this morning. They're building a case, Harper. For what? I haven't done anything wrong. It doesn't matter. Edwin's connected. His brother-in-law plays golf with the CEO. I pushed my bowl away. So, I'm just supposed to wait for the axe to fall? No, you're supposed to be careful. She slid a small flash drive across the table. Your performance reviews for the past 5 years. Client testimonials. Revenue reports showing your contribution. Take it. Where did you get these? I have finance system access. These are all documents you're entitled to have anyway. She checked her watch. I should get back. As she stood, I caught her wrist. Why are you helping me? Zoe's expression softened. Remember when I nearly quit after the Brandon incident? You were the only one who believed me. Some of us haven't forgotten. The Brandon incident. 2 years ago, our former sales director had sexually harassed Zoe at a company retreat. When she reported it, management had suggested she was misinterpreting friendly behavior. I'd gone directly to HR with supporting evidence from other witnesses. Brandon was eventually removed, but not before Zoe endured months of subtle retaliation. Thank you, I said. Don't thank me yet. Just be smarter than they expect you to be. Back at the office, a meeting invitation appeared on my calendar. Performance review, Monday 8 a.m., 3 days from now. No agenda attached. That afternoon, I noticed Edwin in a closed-door meeting with Trent from legal. Through the glass walls, their expressions looked grave. When Trent noticed me watching, he quickly closed the blinds. They were accelerating the timeline. I wouldn't make it to Monday. I needed to act, but carefully. That evening, I created a personal email account and sent a message to Lindsay Chen from it. Miss Chen, due to a potential conflict of interest, I need to discuss something important with Miss Diamante privately. Could you please forward her my personal contact information? Harper Wade. Within an hour, my phone rang, an unknown number. This is Harper, I answered. Miss Wade, this is Vivian Diamante. My assistant shared your message. What's this about a conflict of interest? I took a deep breath. I appreciate you calling personally. I'm in a complicated situation at my company following our meeting. Explain. The presentation you attended was supposed to happen tomorrow. I was given 2 minutes notice deliberately, with no access to materials. By whom? My direct superior, Edwin Palmer. He's now blocked all communication between us and is monitoring my company email. I believe he's building a case for my termination. Silence stretched across the line. And why are you telling me this? Because you asked to meet with me, and I wanted to explain why I couldn't respond properly. I'm not asking for anything. I just thought you deserved to know the truth. Another long pause. The proposal you sketched yesterday, was that your work? Yes, I've been developing it for 6 weeks. And the approach you outlined, predicting consumer behavior in emerging markets using cultural context models, whose idea was that? Mine. It's based on research I've been conducting independently. I see. Her tone revealed nothing. Miss Wade, are you free tomorrow morning? 7 a.m.? At the Riverside Cafe on Oakwood Street? Yes, I can be there. Good. Come alone. And bring nothing from your current employer. We'll talk then. The line went dead before I could respond. I slept poorly that night, torn between hope and dread. By 6:30 the next morning, I was sitting in my car outside the cafe, watching rain streak down the windshield. My future hinged on whatever happened next. The cafe was nearly empty when I entered. Vivian sat in a corner booth, dressed impeccably despite the early hour. No assistant, no team members, just her. Thank you for coming, she said as I slid into the booth. Coffee? I nodded, and she signaled the server. I've been in business for 27 years, Vivian began. In that time, I've learned to recognize certain patterns. What happened in that conference room wasn't just about a rescheduled meeting. No, it wasn't. Tell me why you think Edwin Palmer wanted you to fail. I considered my words carefully. 3 weeks ago, I challenged his strategy during an executive briefing. We'd lost 2 major accounts following his standardized approach. I presented data showing we needed more customized solutions. And he didn't appreciate the criticism. No, especially not from someone who what? From someone who reminds him of his previous failure. Vivian raised an eyebrow. Explain. Before joining our division, Edwin ran the Midwest office. They lost several major clients under his leadership, and the division was eventually dissolved. The official story was restructuring, but the truth was incompetence, she finished. I know. We were one of those clients. I nearly choked on my coffee. You worked with Edwin before? Unfortunately, his rigid approach cost us months of market positioning. We terminated the contract early. She studied me. Did you know this? No, that information wasn't shared with the team. She nodded slowly. So Edwin saw the Diamante name on the prospective client list and recognized a threat. Then you were assigned to lead the presentation. It felt like a setup from the beginning, I admitted. Too good to be true. It was. Vivian placed a folder on the table. Harper, I didn't come here just to discuss Edwin Palmer. I have a proposition for you. She opened the folder, revealing a document with a familiar logo, but not my company's. It was Diamante's. What is this? I asked, heart racing. Your future, Vivian said, if you want it. The folder contained an employment contract. Director of Strategic Solutions at Diamante Group, with a salary nearly double what I was making. I don't understand, I said, scanning the document. You want to hire me? Based on a 15-minute conversation and some notes on a legal pad? Based on what those 15 minutes revealed about how you think, Vivian corrected. Anyone can make pretty slides. Few can identify the real problem beneath the stated one. I closed the folder. I can't just walk away from my company. Why not? You said yourself they're building a case against you. It's more complicated than that. Vivian studied me. You're loyal, admirable, but occasionally misplaced. She checked her watch. I don't need an answer today. Think it over. If I did accept, I said carefully, when would you want me to start? Immediately. We're presenting to international partners next month. I want your approach incorporated. The implications were clear. I would need to leave my current position with no transition period. Walk away from clients I'd built relationships with for years. Abandon projects mid-development. It felt wrong, yet staying seemed impossible. I need a few days, I said finally. You have until Monday, 9 a.m. Vivian handed me her card with a direct number written on the back. Call me when you decide. And Harper, whatever you choose, be careful. I spent Saturday weighing my options, making lists of pros and cons that all pointed to the same conclusion. Taking Vivian's offer was the only rational choice. By Sunday afternoon, my decision was made. Monday morning arrived with a sense of inevitability. I dressed professionally, not for the performance review scheduled with Edwin, but for what would come after. The office was quiet when I arrived at 7:30. I used those empty minutes to collect personal items from my desk, leaving company property untouched. At 7:55, I headed to Edwin's office. He was already waiting, alongside Trent from legal. Close the door, Edwin said without greeting. I remained standing. What's this about? Sit down, Harper. Edwin's tone was cold. We need to discuss some concerning behavior. Edwin's tone was cold. I stayed on my feet. Such as? Edwin opened a folder, similar to Vivian's, but containing something very different. We have evidence you've been communicating with clients outside proper channels, undermining company directives, and possibly preparing to appropriate client relationships for personal gain. That's absurd. Is it? He slid a paper across the desk. This is an email exchange between you and Vivian Diamante, using a personal account to circumvent company systems. My single message to Lindsay, Vivian's assistant. Somehow, they'd discovered it. Additionally, Edwin continued, you failed to properly document client meetings and development strategies, creating a single point of failure that puts the company at risk. The irony was staggering. He deliberately prevented me from documenting my work, then weaponized that lack of documentation against me. Due to these violations, we're terminating your employment effective immediately. Edwin pushed another document forward. This severance agreement offers 2 weeks' pay in exchange for a clean separation and non-compete clause. I glanced at the agreement without touching it. 2 weeks? After 5 years? Given the circumstances, that's generous, Trent interjected. We could pursue damages for the Diamante account. What damages? I asked. They haven't signed with anyone yet. We had a reasonable expectation. Stop. I held up my hand. I know what this is. Edwin leaned back. Please, enlighten us. This is panic. You recognized Vivian Diamante from your previous failure and realized she might remember you. So you sabotaged the presentation to prevent that connection, then blamed me when it backfired. I met his gaze. How am I doing so far? A muscle twitched in Edwin's jaw. The problem is, I continued, she did remember you. She told me your rigid approach cost them months of market positioning. That's why they terminated your contract early in Chicago. Edwin's face paled. You've been discussing company business. I've been having conversations about my future, I interrupted, which no longer includes this company. I reached into my bag and placed a letter on the desk. This is my resignation, effective immediately. Edwin recovered quickly. Resignation doesn't negate your non-compete clause. You won't be working for any competitors for at least 12 months. Actually, I smiled for the first time. Check clause 17B in my original employment contract. The non-compete only applies if I'm terminated for cause or accept severance. Neither condition has been met. Trent grabbed my personnel file, flipping pages frantically. His expression confirmed I was right. You can't just walk out, Edwin said. The transition isn't my concern anymore. You've been removing me from projects for weeks. Consider that my transition period. I headed for the door. Goodbye, Edwin. You'll never work in this industry again, he called after me. I'll make sure of it. I paused in the doorway. We'll see. As I walked through the office, colleagues watched in silence. Only Zoe met my eyes, giving an almost imperceptible nod. I'd texted her, Sunday night, thank you for everything. Moving on to better things. Outside, I called Vivian. I've made my decision, I said when she answered. I'm listening. I accept your offer with one condition. I need 2 weeks before starting. May I ask why? There's something I need to finish first. A pause. Agreed. 2 weeks, then you're mine. Should I be concerned about what you're finishing? No, I said. It's just tying up loose ends. Those 2 weeks were the calm before the storm. I spent them methodically gathering information, making connections, and preparing for what came next. I visited former clients who'd left during Edwin's tenure, asking open-ended questions about their experience. I reconnected with former colleagues who'd been pushed out. I researched companies Edwin had worked for previously, finding patterns I'd missed before. Meanwhile, Edwin was scrambling. Without access to my development notes or relationship history with Diamante, he struggled to reconstruct my approach. Twice, he attempted to contact me about transition details. I didn't respond. On my last free day before starting at Diamante, I received a text from Zoe. He's presenting to the board tomorrow, claiming credit for revitalizing the Diamante opportunity after rescuing it from mismanagement. I replied, perfect timing. The next morning, I walked into Diamante headquarters as their new director of strategic solutions. Vivian introduced me to the executive team, then led me to a conference room where 6 people waited, including the board members from my previous company. Miss Wade, the chairman said, your timing is impeccable. We were just discussing the concerning pattern Miss Diamante brought to our attention. For 2 hours, I listened as Vivian methodically outlined what she'd discovered about Edwin's management history. Not just his failures at my former company, but a consistent pattern across 3 previous employers. Client loss, team turnover, taking credit for others' work while blaming them for failures. This morning, Vivian concluded, your senior director is presenting to your board, claiming he salvaged the Diamante account. Meanwhile, we're signing a multi-year contract with the person he terminated. The chairman looked grim. We appreciate this information. Rest assured, appropriate action will be taken. As the meeting concluded, Vivian pulled me aside. You orchestrated this, didn't you? The timing, the board meeting, all of it. I simply connected people who needed to talk to each other. Her eyes narrowed. You're more strategic than I realized. I'm glad you're on my team now. That afternoon, Zoe texted again. Board meeting interrupted. Edwin called out, emergency executive session in progress. I didn't reply. There was nothing more to say. 3 days later, a press release announced Edwin's departure from the company to pursue other opportunities. An internal investigation into management practices was launched. Former employees were contacted for interviews about their experiences. 2 weeks after that, I received an email from the chairman asking if I would consider returning to lead a newly restructured division. I politely declined. 6 months passed. I thrived at Diamante, developing the cultural context model that would eventually become our flagship product. My team expanded. My ideas flourished under Vivian's mentorship. Then came the industry conference in Atlanta, the one where everyone who matters attends. I was scheduled to present our new platform, now generating substantial revenue. As I prepared in the speaker room, a familiar figure appeared in the doorway. Edwin looked different. Cheaper suit, cheaper watch, the confident posture gone. He'd aged years in months. Harper, he said, congratulations on your success. I regarded him coolly. What do you want, Edwin? I've been consulting independently since the change. He cleared his throat. It's been challenging to rebuild. I imagine so. I wondered if we might clear the air, perhaps discuss potential collaboration opportunities. And there it was, the real reason for this unexpected reunion. Edwin hadn't changed. He'd simply identified me as a potential ladder to climb again. There's nothing to discuss, I said. You tried to destroy my career because I challenged your ideas. You failed because your ideas deserve to be challenged. His expression hardened. You planned this from the beginning. You used Diamante to take me down. No, Edwin, you took yourself down. I simply stepped out of the way and let people see the truth. The truth? He laughed bitterly. The truth is you got lucky. If Vivian hadn't taken a shine to you, it wasn't luck, I interrupted. It was preparation meeting opportunity, something you never understood. A staff member appeared. Miss Wade, you're on in 5 minutes. Edwin blocked my path. This isn't over. Actually, it is. I stepped around him. I have a presentation to give. One I've had more than 2 minutes to prepare for. As I walked onto the stage to applause, I spotted Edwin slinking toward the exit. He wouldn't stay to watch me succeed. He couldn't bear it. My revenge wasn't the dramatic confrontation he'd expected. It wasn't crafted in anger or executed in a moment of triumph. It was methodical, patient, and devastatingly simple. I connected the dots he'd spent years trying to hide. I let his pattern of behavior speak for itself. I gave his victims voices they'd been denied. I didn't destroy Edwin Palmer. I merely removed the facades he'd built, allowing everyone to see what had always been there. And that was a far more complete destruction than he could ever comprehend. If this story of professional resilience and strategic patience resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about navigating challenging workplace dynamics. Have you ever faced a similar situation where someone tried to sabotage your success? Share your experience in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you handled it.